I don't know about this. Ow. Okay, I already got a splinter. So I eventually ended up taking my patterns and converting them into kits. And that year I made more from my business than I ever have before. It would be nice if the instructions actually looked like the product you're working on. Anyway, some of these I made, and then some of these my mom made back in the 90s. Hi, my name is Janelle. I run a creative business called Wistful Bird Cross Stitch, and my first market of the season is next weekend. So I have a little bit of prep to do for that. So I wanted to just bring you along with me and show you what I'm up to and just kind of talk about the process, my setup, and just how I prepare for market season. So in my previous video, I talked about buying a canopy for my market setup for this year. I previously haven't had one. I actually do markets with my mother a lot of the time. She and my stepdad run an apiary. So they have honey and beeswax products, lip balms, wax wraps, that kind of thing. So in previous years, I have just kind of shared a canopy with my mom, but this year I wanted a little more space, so I bought my own. And in my previous video, I had made a banner with my business name. So because I'm gonna have more space this year, I wanted to sort of expand my setup. Previously, I just had a foldable 6-foot table, which I'm still gonna use, but I wanted a little bit extra as well. So I've purchased, it's actually a plant stand, but I'm gonna use it as a product display. And I got this one because it's foldable, so all of the shelves kind of fold flat and it's easy to kind of pack up and put in the vehicle. So I'm hoping that it'll be fairly easy just to unpack, set up, and then at the end of the market, pack away again and not take up a lot of space. So today I am gonna put that together and kind of see how that'll work with my products and signage and that kind of thing. I'm a little bit wary of the quality of this because it's just an Amazon purchase and the reviews were kind of mixed, but there weren't a lot of options for stands that were collapsible. And this one actually has a detachable bar across the top as well that you can hang stuff from. So that was a bit of a draw for me, just to have kind of more options to display stuff. So let's put that together and then I'll do a little test run and see how it works with my signage and everything. And I'll maybe talk a little bit about my small business experience as we go along. So I am slightly concerned about how this will be to put together. Because again, going from the reviews on this product, it seemed like it was a bit difficult and that because the quality is not great, I think some people are having issues with like the screws breaking. Doesn't look too terrible. They went a little crazy with the varnish on this. Could maybe use a little bit of sanding at the edges too. It's bamboo, which obviously splinters pretty easily, so the corners are a little bit rough, but I can fix that later. So far I'm not seeing any instructions. So this might be a little bit of a shit show. Shelves look like a decent size. That's a little bit crooked. Oh well. Oh, I see a paper. Hopefully that will tell me what to do. Oh, this is very bare bones. And do we have, oh, we do have screws, okay. Actually, really, like the shelves are not a bad size. That's pretty big. That's the bottom one, but still, like, I don't need anything huge. So that should do fine. These pieces are all rounded, but only on one end. And the picture looks rounded on both ends. So that's interesting. Okay, so already the picture does not look the same
I don't know about this. Okay, so I think I have a vague idea of what I'm doing now, so I'm gonna get started on actually putting this together. Ow. Okay, I already got a splinter. So yeah, if you're looking for quality, maybe don't buy this one. I just wanted something cheap that would fold down. That was my criteria. Okay, so at this point I've got the front piece and the back piece put together. So next steps is just to join the two. Woo. And then add the shelves. So this just kind of will go together like that. And then the shelves attached to the back piece. So I'm actually gonna show you up close here. The cross pieces for the front section are actually pretty bowed. So you can see, actually I don't know if that shows up on camera particularly well, but the cross pieces are all kind of curved. So I just made sure that they were all curved outwards just so that it's sort of even. So I'll just finish assembling this. And while I do that, I was thinking I would just talk a little bit about my business and how I got started and kind of how I run everything. So as I mentioned, my business is a cross-stitch business. And it's something that I've been doing for quite a long time, actually. I think I started around 2012 or so. So I initially started off just designing patterns for myself. I went through a period of unemployment and it was just kind of something to do with my time. And I ended up making so many that I kind of ran out of space. I just had them all displayed on my bookshelves and I got to the point where I didn't have any bookshelf space left. I had an old Etsy shop that I had set up, I don't know, a couple of years earlier. I tried to sell some of my knitting and some jewelry and stuff, and I only ever sold one set of earrings. So I kind of just let the shop sit empty for a while. So I decided to just make use of this Etsy shop that I already had. And I started selling some of these cross-stitch pieces that I had designed. And before too long, I started getting requests from people for the patterns. People were looking more for digital patterns than they were for completed pieces. So that's what I ended up switching to. I found a program that I could design digital patterns in and figured out how to save them as PDFs. And actually at that point in time, Etsy didn't really have a way to download digital items within their platform. So initially I would just get orders from people through Etsy and then I would have to actually email them the PDF files. Now it's a lot more streamlined and I can just put the download files onto the item listing and then people will buy it and they can download it themselves just within the website, which makes things a lot easier on me and then quicker for the buyer too, because they get the item right away. Okay, so two pieces are together here and it folds down nice and flat. So I think that'll work out well. And now next step is to connect the shelves. So I'll get started on that. And hopefully this still fits together properly when those are attached. So initially, when I started selling patterns, it was more like pop culture kind of stuff. It was quotes from TV shows and cartoon characters. I had like My Little Pony and Adventure Time and like Doctor Who theme stuff. So that was kind of what I started out doing. And then probably around 2016, 16, 17, somewhere around there, I decided to switch up what I was doing. I wanted to get away from licensed things and focus on doing more original designs. For a while, I was just selling patterns. Because it's just a digital item, I don't charge very much. I think my most expensive pattern is like $5 or $6. So that doesn't bring in a lot of revenue. So I eventually ended up taking my patterns and converting them into kits. Just buying supplies in bulk and assembling them together. And those have gone over really well. But overall, I end up making more money from the kits than just the patterns. So before I started making the kits, I was actually selling finished pieces for a while, but because cross stitch is so time consuming, I was either having to undercut myself, just because people are only willing to spend so much, but I was putting so much time into it. So that's kind of where I got the idea to put together the kits, because people still end up getting a finished item. It's just that they're putting it together themselves rather than me putting all of my time into doing it. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next step because I've just been talking away to myself here. So despite this thing being not very good quality, it's actually coming together okay. Like some of the pieces, these cross pieces on the back section, I was having to be really careful with because the pieces are really narrow. So I was kind of pre-screwing in the screws, I guess, just to make sure that they were going in straight, because it's so narrow that if it went in at a bit of an angle, it would probably poke through or crack it or whatever. So I'm trying to be really careful with putting this together. So far it's gone okay. It definitely needs a sand though. So once I finish putting this together, I think I'm just gonna take it outside and sand everything down because I have gotten so many splinters already from this thing. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to pre-screw these in because this part's really narrow as well. So anyways, once I started selling kits, my business took off a bit. I've been trying to add designs when I can. A lot of the designs I have are ones that I designed a few years ago. I would love to spend more time working on designing patterns. Just lately, I haven't had a ton of time. So I have been working 3 days a week at a university for the past 5 years, but my position there has just been discontinued. So I'm only going to be working there until like mid-July, maybe early July, because I have some vacation time, so I might just take that out and get out of there a bit early. My plan, because I'm going to be not without a job because I still have my business, and I'm planning on doing a few markets over the summer. So the main one that I'm doing is the one that's starting next week. I'm gonna try to make a little vloggy video of what it's like to be a vendor at a market. So hopefully you will find that interesting. I only did one market last year. I've been struggling with anxiety for the past year and a bit, so I wasn't feeling up to doing summer markets last year. But I think I'm to the point now where I will be okay doing them. It's still going to be a bit of trial and error, I think. Kind of getting into the right headspace and just like knowing that I can handle it. But this is a market that I've done for several years. So I know how everything goes and I know the organizer, and again, I do markets with my mom, so she's going to be there. So it'll all be fine, I'm sure. But still, it's just, it can be a little bit stressful. So yeah, I got a little off track with what I was saying. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not gonna have my admin job for much longer. So I'm hoping to spend more time working on my business and designing new patterns. And making videos. This is something that I've really been enjoying, and my channel's still super small, but I'm hoping that when I have more time, I'll be able to make more videos and hopefully reach more people. And that being said, if you enjoy watching my videos, I would love for you to subscribe. My channel's still super small, so every subscription means a lot. So if you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I'm hoping that in addition to my craft business, that this channel will eventually make me a little bit of money. But I still have a long way to go before this channel will actually start making any income. So my business actually went crazy at the start of the pandemic. As soon, like that first month, I made a ridiculous amount of sales. Sales stayed pretty good and pretty consistent after that. Like it was the first month that really like blew up. And then after that, it wasn't quite as much, but it was still like a decent amount. And that year I made more from my business than I ever have before. But since then, like since people have started going back to work and don't have as much time for crafty things, I've definitely seen a drop in the amount of sales that I've been getting. And I think a lot of that too is when everybody was working at home, a lot of people were starting crafty businesses as kind of a side hustle thing. So there's a lot more shops doing not necessarily the exact same thing that I'm doing, but something similar. So yeah, there's definitely more competition. I find that like a lot of people complain about Etsy, and I definitely have my gripes with it too, but I think it is still the best platform out there for creative businesses, just because it gives you a built-in audience. Like it's really hard to build an audience on social media. Like, I guess I'm not very consistent with it, but I find it really difficult to get any kind of attention on Instagram. I'm trying to focus now more on Pinterest, but even that, I'm still kind of learning the ropes with it. And I don't know that I'm necessarily doing everything as efficiently as I can be. I'm hoping to spend more time on that, again, once I'm not working an office job. I've started taking online classes on digital marketing. So I'd like to spend more time kind of figuring out how to navigate social media and make it effective for me. So again, I'm thinking eventually I'm gonna do just kind of like a chatty vlog kind of thing, talking about my small business experience more in depth than this. I'm just kind of talking right now. But I'd like to kind of sit down and do a video that's a little more scripted, just to make sure that I'm making sense and going over all the points that I want to cover. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. And if you have any like particular questions about starting and running a creative business, you can leave those in the comments down below and I'll try to answer everything that I can. Okay, so main part of this is done. I'll try not to smack the camera. So I think I want to leave the screws for the shelves fairly loose so that they can move easily. I was thinking that these crossbars would like line up with the edge of the shelves a little more, but it's really just the bottom one that does. I guess that's fine as long as it's still relatively stable. I'm still gonna have to tighten up some of the screws. It's not like, it's a little wobbly as you can see, but I think for what I'm gonna use it for, it's gonna be fine. Okay, so all that's left, and I think I'll have to bump up the camera for that, is there's this like top piece. So these will go on either side, and then this piece will act as a bar in the middle that you can hang stuff off of. This little like bar thing at the top is actually adjustable, which is nice. I don't really know how tall I want it to be. I guess it's only adjustable at 2 heights. It's either that tall or that tall. I think I'm gonna go with the higher height. I think that'll make more sense. So I think my biggest gripe with this product is that the pictures that they have on the instructions don't actually look like the actual pieces themselves. I don't know if this company just stole instructions from another product, like from a different company, and just decided to use them for their own, or if they redesigned this and didn't update the instructions. In some of these pictures, the bottom of the front piece is rounded, but on this one they're flat. And then these pieces, it shows it as having 4 holes down here, like for adjustment points, but these only have 2, which is fine. I don't need all 4. I don't need it to be that adjustable, but like even the shape of the top of these are different. Like these ones are rounded, but it's more square and like angled in the picture. And then also the screws that were used for the front half of this are totally different. And like I didn't get any in the package that look like that type. It would be nice if the instructions actually looked like the product you're working on. Anyway, aside from that, it's fine. I think it should work for what I need it to do. And as long as it still folds down flat with the shelves on it, I will be happy. Okay, so last step is to put on this bar. So for markets this summer, I'm actually going to be selling a little more than just my cross-stitch kits. That's obviously still going to be the main focus because that is what my business is, but I've been really into crochet lately. If you haven't noticed by some of the videos I've been posting recently. So I'm going to be selling some crochet stuff, and then I have some stuff that I made quite a while ago. I had sewed some face masks and some scrunchies, so I'm gonna see if I can sell some of that stuff as well. And mostly just because it's been sitting around in a bin in my office, and I kind of want to just get rid of it to make some space. So I'm going to be selling that as well, which is kind of why I wanted this display, because typically my setup just consists of a 6-foot folding table. So I wanted to have something kind of off to the side that I could use. I'll just have my kits on the table, and then I'll have kind of all of the other stuff here. That's the plan, at least. I got some S hooks as well. So I'm going to use this. So that's why I bought this one in particular, because it had this bar on it. A lot of the ones that I was looking at were just the shelf. And I don't know if I mentioned, this is actually a plant shelf. It's supposed to be just to put pots of plants on. And then I think the hanging bar is supposed to be for hanging pots. But I figured it would work really well for a display stand. So I got this stand in particular because it had this bar so that I could use the S hooks to hang stuff off of. So I'll finish putting this together, and then I'll grab some of my stuff and set up a little display, kind of how I intend to have it at the markets. Just make sure that it actually works the way I want it to. It's cute, I think it'll work well. Okay, I'll just go grab some stuff. So for the top shelf, I was thinking I would do signage, but I'll have to see if it's gonna actually be wide enough. I guess the main issue is that there's, like, it's just slats. So it's not a flat surface. I might have to get something to go over the slats, or I'd have to be very precarious about how I'm placing stuff. I might have to rethink this. I think it'll be wide enough. It's just, and it is slightly angled back too. Not like a lot, but it's not perfectly like level. Okay, so I might need to get something to go under my little stands, because that's not gonna work with the slats. And then my other one is the same kind of thing. I just use a like plate stand kind of thing. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay, gonna have to rethink that one. Other than that, I got a bunch of S hooks. So I was thinking I would just hang a bunch on here to display stuff. I have a couple of these tote bags that I cross-stitched on like ages ago and just never really did anything with. So I'm gonna try to sell those this summer, and I might even be able to just put these on the corners here. And then I have some little fabric masks that I made. So these I could probably just hang on these. And then the other thing that I have is scrunchies. Some of these I made, and then some of these my mom made back in the 90s because she used to do craft sales all the time. So she just gave them to me a few years ago to sell. And I got rid of a few of them, but I still have a bunch. So I don't know if the hooks will work super well for these because I think I can only do one per hook, but I'll figure out some sort of system for that. Right now I just have them in a basket. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. Actually, maybe those can go at the bottom. That might work. Oh, I guess you can't really see that. And then I have a bunch of kits that are like older designs that don't really sell very well anymore, so I'm gonna have them on sale. So I figured I'd just have the sale stuff on this rack as well and just have my main kits on the table. So just put the sale ones in here with a sign, and then I'll have my business signage up here if I can figure out what to put on this top shelf to make it flat. So that's kind of what I've got for now. So I think this will work, and it'll look a little more interesting than just like a table. It'll add a bit of height and have some different products on it, so hopefully that'll draw more people in. The market that I'm doing, as I said, I've done several summers, and I usually do pretty well at it. It's at like, it's basically a little beach town. So a lot of people have their cabins up there and they go up there for the whole summer. So this market is on Saturdays. So a lot of people will just go to the market on Saturdays and browse and buy stuff, and that's kind of their entertainment for the week. So sort of a captive audience, which is nice to have. And it's also people who own cabins, so they have a little more disposable income than the demographic at some other markets. So I also have a pegboard that I use to display the finished pieces as samples of my cross-stitch kits. So all of the designs that I'm selling kits for, I'll have the finished pieces done up so that people can see what they actually look like when they're done. Like all of my kits have pictures on the front of them, but it's not quite the same seeing a picture as to seeing the actual completed thing, like what it'll look like when you're done. So now that I have a market canopy, I am planning to hang the pegboard on the side, so that'll leave more room on my table, because I usually just set it up on the table and it takes up a lot of room, so I'll now have more space on the table. So that'll be good. And I think that's pretty much it. So I think I'm gonna do a little vloggy video next week of the actual market. So you'll be able to see my final setup and how the market goes. And I think right now what I'm gonna do is take this thing outside and sand it down a bit, because I don't really wanna get splinters every time I touch this thing. So that's it for now. Again, if you have any small business, creative business type questions, or any questions about my business in particular, anything like that, please leave it in the comments down below. And again, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. And if you want to check out some of my other videos where I do crafty projects, I will have a couple of them listed here. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon. Bye.